afternoon and welcome to Women Everywhere. Your story matters, the intellectual radio. This is Gigi Herrera and I'm host at Women Everywhere and I'm here every second Sunday of the month. And I have a huge announcement this coming today about our show here at Women Everywhere. And happy Mother's Day to all mothers around the world. Thank you guys for tuning in here at Women Everywhere, Your Story Matters. And I want to welcome three wonderful women that will be joining me here at Women Everywhere for the next few episodes. They're going to be my co-host here, but I'll mention that to you shortly and who they are. I want to say thank you to all of you that were interested in coming to the Derby. This past weekend, we went to the Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs, Louisville, Kentucky, and that's the reason why I'm wearing this hat. So if you've noticed, it's super yellow. Thank you guys for tuning in again here. And I have no guest today, so it's just between you and me. You guys can tune in, ask questions if you have any questions. If you want to share messages or comments to your mother, if you want to greet them here on the show, you can call us at 708-223-8953, or you can send me a text at 630-542-3006. And also you can Facebook post a message on our Facebook page at Women Everywhere. Your Story Matters. It's Facebook.com. Women Everywhere is the URL. So you guys, if you've noticed, my hair is kind of different today. Well, that's the work of Mr. Michael Hopkins with Soraya Salon. They're actually located at let me see here. They're looking at 1463 South State Street, Chicago. So if you guys are interested in having Michael do your hair, just like mine, it was totally black then, and now it's, kind of golden brown or kind of, blonde. So I hope you guys are gonna go check it out. And happy birthday to him as well. He had birthday this weekend. So again, happy Mother's Day to everyone. Today we're gonna talk about some of the most important things that I think women should talk about, especially before they become a parent. And if you're already a mother, some of the challenges that motherhood faces in our society today, in our times, we'll talk about that as well. And if you have something to share, if you're a mother and you're having a hard time in your life right now, feel free to share it, and some message to your daughter as well, or to your son. If you're interested, please go ahead and call us at 708-223-8953, or you can send me a text at 630-542-3006, and I'll read it on air here at Women Everywhere. Before we continue with that, I want to say thank you to all the sponsors that we have. Mark Cheese Cherry, they're located in downtown Chicago. Their product, amazing product, spa, anything skin care wise, you can find it at markcjerry.com, and ISO Networks LLC, of course, Carrera brand, and my clothing line. If you guys notice, if you're watching me right now, you can see my skirt and my belt. I made it, of course, Gigi brand. I'm gonna go ahead and stand up for a little bit. It's a full skirt. I'm wearing it. I'm wearing it today because I'm seeing my mother-in-law, and of course, I don't want to wear a short skirt and stuff like that. So if you're interested in purchasing, this is available at gg.com. Okay, enough of the advertising. We're gonna talk about important stuff like motherhood and single parenthood, single mothers, and also talk about the mothers that are a breadwinner in the family, and some statistics that we can find obviously online. But I'm gonna give you guys a rundown of that, and also a little bit more about the Derby and my experience there. I have a lot of video that I'm going to be posting at Women Everywhere because I took the video. I was planning on doing a YouTube channel coverage, but unfortunately the internet there was so they should change that. I think there's hundreds of thousands of people that were there, and the internet was just terrible. But hopefully in the next few years, a way to do a live coverage there at the Kentucky Derby. But before we continue, I'm going to take a short break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about challenges of mothers in raising their children in our time. Feel free to tune in. We'll be right back here at Women Everywhere. Your story matters at Intellectual Radio.
one. Do I see the rising of the sun? For the night was filled with rain and thunder. Henceforth a new day has begun. And I smile while I'm rolling in my city, looking at the skyline. I will seize the day. 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 As I cruise, rolling down the street, wondering what future has for me. Kneeling in the town, the city by the lake, going around the world, the groove I gotta take. The time is now for me to make some noise.
Welcome back to Women Everywhere, your story matters at Intellectual Radios. Before we go with our talk about parents and motherhood, again, please, if you have any comments or messages to your mother, of course, please feel free to send us a text at 630-542-3006. So the nice thing about this weekend was we decided to go to the Derby. Initially, we planned that Gigi Brand will host women to come to the Derby with us, but everybody decided to stay in Illinois instead of going with us to the Derby. Unfortunately, they missed some of the fun stuff at the Derby event this weekend. So I am going to give you a little bit of rundown about that show, about that event. So especially our producer here wants to hear about it. So I gotta do it, right? So if you guys haven't heard of the Derby, it's about a race with different horses. They're thoroughbred horses. It's been going on for so many years, since 1875. And the Derby started racing since 1875, and it's been going on until this time. They've never missed a race, and the horses, people from all over the world basically fly to Louisville, Kentucky to actually see this race every year. And we were there, obviously. Yesterday, we drove from Illinois at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., and then got there about 1:30. So it was pretty amazing. When we got there, the nice thing about in Louisville, Kentucky is I feel like there's nothing else going on in Louisville, Kentucky, other than the Kentucky Derby when we come out there, because everybody that was there are all going to this location. It was like 100 thousands of people that were there. The Kentucky Derby, if you've ever seen it online, you probably heard it in CBS News and all that. It's a huge venue. Right across it is the Cardinal Stadium. And if you're not there early enough, like we did at 1 o'clock, you'll have to park miles away from the location. They have buses that will take you to the racetrack itself, but we've decided to walk because everybody seems to be walking. So we park outside the Cardinal Stadium. $20. That's like, you can't beat that. If you go to Wrigleyville, I think it will cost you about 40, 50, 60, a little bit more than that. But over there, we paid $20 to park. It was very interesting. And while we were walking over there, a lot of people are going towards the Cardinal Stadium to from the parking lot, because a lot of them are drunk. It was pretty interesting to actually see, and a lot of the women are walking without their shoes, and they're coming back towards the parking lot, and we're going in towards the Derby. So the most amazing part for me, one of the few reasons I went there was because I wanted to see the hats and the outfits and beautiful women and men, and they're very, very friendly. And I think if you're a single girl, you should definitely check it out next year. There's so many gorgeous men and women out there. I had fun, and I'm not even looking for one, right? It was a pretty fun experience for me. And we were coming in the because of the election, and all the other challenge, a lot of issues that people are want to talk about. There were so many groups of people that were there. Some of them are from a political party, and then from church, and there was a lot of commotions other than people that are interested in getting fun. So anyways, we went in inside the Derby. We paid to get in a ticket, and as we were walking towards this to the racetrack, there were so many people dressed so beautiful, and you will see that in a video at Women Everywhere. I'm going to be posting that. There were so many women dressing up so beautifully, and and everybody was just like talking about one horse. There was one horse they were talking about the whole time. One, and then maybe a few other horses, and it was exaggerator, which was really interesting because they were like, oh, we're gonna go and bet. And even my friends, shout out to Mario Morgesi, who was giving me a lot of tips on what horses to pick. But the biggest thing in the Derby is, the horse, the racing, the hats, and the gorgeous people that are there walking around. And we saw a lot of these all over the place. And the buildings, there's so many buildings in there, and there's so many people that are on top of the buildings, outside the buildings, in the area, in the grass. Either way, wherever you find them, they're actually having a lot of fun, and just drinking mint julep and whatever drinks they were drinking. And it was a pretty interesting experience for me. And of course, this was not the first time I've gone to the Derby before. And so um we arrived there at approximately 1:30ish, and I think it was the 10th race. And that's all I could really say. I was only interested in seeing the horses, the hats, the women, and the beautiful people that were dressed up so beautifully. And of course, the actual Derby race, which was the 12th race. And yeah, and that was pretty much the whole gist about the whole event. So we bet, and of course I didn't win. So the winner of the Derby this year was Nyquist, who was at 2-1 of odds. So he was definitely the favorite, and a lot of people must have predicted that horse to win. He never lost a race, and it was pretty interesting. And so congratulations to the owners of Nyquist, who probably have spent a lot of money purchasing that horse, and millions of dollars, and also training the horse. And so you guys are so a little bit more information about the Derby, because definitely we are going to come back in a couple, maybe next year, a couple of years, depending on how interested you guys are. I'm not making a very good argument of why you should come, but when you see the video of my post at Women Everywhere, you guys will see how amazing it is actually to have that experience. And to see a lot of people that are just there, really just not, seems like not caring about anything other than enjoying life, and the music, and being around their friends and dressing up nicely, which you don't do a lot on a regular day. When you go to bar, it's a totally different experience. So next year, if you're interested in attending to come to the Derby with us, please send us message or an email at jegie@carreraco.com. And but here's the thing: next year, even if you're interested in finding out how to pick a horse, there are different techniques or ways to do it. The first thing is you can listen to the experts, because they actually have, honestly, they have an expert that actually talks nothing but horses in there. And if you're listening to some of the feeds at CNBC, you will see this guy on radio, or an announcer that would be calling the horse while they're racing, like, okay, number one, number two is passing this horse. And it's such a big, a crazy moment when they're just about to pass on the gate, when they left the gate, and all the horses are running towards the actual to the finish line. That's what they call the finish line. And when you see them, they're just like it'll kind of remind me of men racing, running. And it's an amazing experience. And I figured that if I don't do very well on radio, eventually I could probably become an announcer for that racetrack, right? I might need a lot of practice and learn more a little bit about horses. But so the first thing you're gonna do, if you're interested in winning, which I actually didn't do because I didn't win. The first thing is you have to read the program. So the program is actually a book where it shows. I don't have a copy of the program. We bought one, but we were not very. I was drunk. I had a bit of mint julep. I think 2, 3. I didn't drive, thank God. So yeah, we had a copy of the program. So what the program looks like is I'm gonna post you a copy on my Facebook page, Women Everywhere. There has the information about what day it is, what the pictures of some of the horses. They're very feature horses in there. And for yesterday's program, there's like about 30 pages, and it includes a lot of information about the horse. So races 1 to, I don't know, 26 or 13 or 14 races, and it would have all the horses' name, like they're human, their statistics, how what races they've been involved with, what's their speed on each of those horses, and then how they placed on every race that they've been to, including how much they win in their lifetime, including how much, pretty much all the information about the horse. It's almost like an athlete. It's an Olympic. So those are some of the ways that you can actually pick the horse by actually looking at their speed. And then another thing too is to watch the horse. If you had opportunity to actually see the horse in real life closer, you can inspect them. So you got to look at the horses, how they look, because they're almost like an athlete. So you got to look at the ears. It's saying that if the horse ears are pricked, meaning they're large and pointed up, its head is high and confident. You can assume that the horse is alert. So you're gonna be looking at the horse that's like on top of their game. So like when you're looking at an athlete, if the athlete is kind of like not so happy and kind of is just way too relaxed, you probably, if that's the horse, you probably don't want to pick that, because it's like it's just chilling, he needs his coffee, you know what I mean? So you gotta you gotta pick a horse that has his ears up, and then you gotta look at the hair of the horse, like maybe like my hair, which is kind of pretty healthy. Look at a hair of a horse that has to be shiny and very healthy, because it actually kind of make them look like they're a healthy horse, obviously. And then the next thing is the muscle definition. Like if you're looking at an athlete, you want to look at an athlete that looks really healthy with his muscles. The same thing with horse. When you're looking at a horse, it has to have like, they have to have like a six pack, like human. So they have to be very, very healthy. You have to look at their arms and their legs that are not too shabby, like an old, 100-year-old man. So you got to look at it like that. And then the next thing is their nerves. So you want to look at um like their muscles. I have seen horses before, but the horses that I have seen are the ones that are harness racing, where they actually carry these like a harness and a little cart behind, where the driver or the jockey, which they call the jockey, rides the harness instead of riding the horse. It's called the harness racing. And then of course the derby is a thoroughbred, where the jockey is on top of the horse. They're riding or driving the horse at that time. I've seen a horse before in the paddocks that you will see. You can tell if they're on top of their game. They're alert. Their ears are up. They're very, very healthy, and of course they're just like ready to go. But you don't want you don't want a horse that's like overly aggressive, because that's going to change how they're going to race. Because if they're not healthy, they're not feeling very well, it's really hard to pick a horse. And that's one of the reasons I didn't win, because I'm not an expert on horses. But I was just telling you what they actually say, what you should look for next year. And next thing we're going to talk about is how to place a bet. So I've learned a few things. How do you place a bet if you want to win? So there's different ways to place the bet. It was so funny yesterday when I had that the YouTube, the Facebook Live, which our producer here just recommended that we should do it. All the hosts at Intellectual Radio should actually do it, because it gives you more practice. Sometimes I feel like I think I should have not said something like that on my live Facebook. But hey, I can't take it down. They've already seen it. So, anyways, when I was driving towards to the channel, to the racetrack yesterday, about to I was about to do a video of where we're going. So here's how you are going to bid for the thoroughbreds or harness racing. So the first thing is find a window. Of course, you need to find somebody to give you the ticket, or they have a self-service in there in most racetracks, where you put money and punch in your bet, but I think that's kind of difficult for people who has no experience. So the minimum bet, you have to have $2. If you don't have $2, don't go to the racetrack because you won't be able to bet and you can't buy a drink, obviously. So you have to have $2 to bet. So the first bet you're gonna do is you pick if you're a newbie, you either pick a first placer, a second placer, and a third placer. So when you go on the window, you gotta tell them, I would like to bet a win. That's if you want a horse to place first on horse number one, for example, for $2. So that's how you're gonna bet. So you tell them your what you're betting for, how much you're betting, and what horse you are going to bet for. That's to place win, to place and to show. So win is for first, place is for second, and third is for show. The second bet that you can do is exacta bets. Exacta is two. You pick two horses to place first and to place second. So you're gonna go like, I want to bet an exacta for horse number 3 and horse number 7, for example. But if you think that, oh, I don't know for sure which horse will go first and which go horse for second, that has to be in order. So if you're doing an exacta, it has to be horse number 1 has to come first and horse number 10 has to come second. But if you're not sure which one will go first, because no one is really sure who's going to go first, right? That's very difficult to pick. You can box it. So you can say horse number 1 and horse number 10. I don't know which one goes first, so I'm gonna box it. So you'd have to either of those horses will come first and second. You can still win. So that's exacta. So and boxing the exacta. So you can bet two different ways in exacta. Exacta in order 1 and 8 horse, for example, or box it that either of those will come place or second. You can still win. The third ways to bet is trifecta. And this one is a little bit more complicated because you need 3 horses. So you pick 3 horses that will place first, second, and third. And you can also box it, which means that either of those horses can win place second or third. But it's more expensive. So every time you box it, you got to multiply it by 2. So for exacta, you pay $4, and then for trifecta, you pay $6. So, and then there's also 4. I'm not even sure what it's called, but you can also bid 4 horses if you're, or you just want to lose money. This is basically how you pick one. You pick 4 horses. Did yesterday because we think we're lucky, but apparently we aren't so lucky. We picked 4 horses on the place first, second, third. You can also box it, which you pay $12. So that's really the best way to lose money. Win money, right? There, you can't really win if you don't try to bet something, but don't make sure that you're not, betting your gas money out of there. Just make sure that you're betting appropriately. But so those are the different ways to bet in the horse racing, either harness racing, I think, and thoroughbred racing. Actually, I want to mention to you as well that there are several places here in Illinois. I'm not encouraging you to gamble, just in case, if you want to see and experience racing in the park itself. There's one in Arlington Heights, which is the racetrack in Arlington, which you can go and see exactly the same thing they're doing at the Kentucky Derby. And there's also one in Maywood Park, and then in Hawthorne Woods. Those are different type of racing. Those are the harness racing, which I mentioned earlier, where you attach a cart and then the jockey drives the horse through the cart. So those are some fun facts. And here's the thing, another thing about the Derby is that, did you know that the Kentucky Derby is the oldest continuously held major sporting events in the United States, and it's been staged every year since 1875. So that's a very, very long time ago. And in 2015, think about this: 194 million in total wages. They wagered about 194 million in 2015. That's a lot of money. Yeah, that's a lot of money, right? I don't know how many were won and how many were kept by the by the racing office, but yeah, those were interesting stuff. And then here, if you think that people drink a lot during the Derby, think about this: 127 mint juleps 127,000 mint juleps were sold at the Derby. And if you guys don't know about mint julep, I know about mint julep because I tried it yesterday and they were good. So next year, hopefully, when you come with us, you'll. Hmm? It's a bourbon, simple syrup, crushed ice, and powdered sugar and mint. Of course, it has to be mint for mint julep, right? That's the traditional way of making. And then if I guess there's different variation, and there's a recipe how to make that mint julep at the Kentucky Derby. I actually posting it on my page today. How to make a mint julep if you really want to know how to have it. I'll post it on my page, the recipe how to make one. But the thing is, you have to have a fresh mint. That's really what they tell you. You can't just make a drink and not have a mint on it. So, and then I hate hot dogs, but here's the thing: there's still a lot of hot dogs apparently over at the Kentucky Derby. I'm serious. They have 163,000 hot dogs sold at the stadium. I mean, come on, guys. That's a lot of hot dogs. But, anyways, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, we are going to talk about motherhood, the tougher challenges today, and the breadwinner moms. And I'm waiting for text from everybody. We'll see you shortly here at Women Everywhere. Your story matters at Intellectual Radio.
Este samba que é missa de mascatão, é samba de preto velho, é samba de preto tom. Um samba como esse tão legal, você não vai querer que ele chegue no final. Maria, ai, oh, oba, oba, oba. Que eu quero passar. Este samba tá ficando animado e o que eu quero é sambar. Este samba é missa de marcação, é samba de preto velho, é samba de preto tom. Mas que nada, um samba como esse tão legal, você não vai querer que ele chegue no final.
Welcome back to Women Everywhere. Your story matters at Intellectual Radio. And I want to make a very, very short announcement. Well, actually, the song that you just heard is from Sissy Santana from her CD Skyline. So, guys, if you're interested, thank you, Sissy Santana, for letting me use your music. Actually, our producer choose your music to play in my show. So I love it though. Guys, make sure to check out Cici Santana's CD. She is a Brazilian super hot woman that performed at our Love Affair fashion show in February. So shout out to Cici Santana, Mia Gray, and Mary Luz for their new band, Triple Heat. So you guys have got to check them out. They're like hot stuff here coming from Chicago. So congratulations. And yeah, there's her CD from Cici Santana. She's going to be playing, her song is going to be played the whole show today. So Anyways, Mother's Day, huh? Everybody has mothers, right? I hope so. So if you guys haven't purchased anything for your mother, come on now. It's time to you only have few hours to buy something for your mom. I'm hoping that we figure out what we're gonna buy for our parents today. We're visiting them later this afternoon. So what are your fondest memory with your parents, with your mom especially, if you're a girl, I have a lot of fun memories with my mom growing up. Oh, and I'm gonna start to cry. Okay, I'm gonna stop it because I'm on radio. I'm gonna cry later. Huh. One of my fondest memory about my mom is lesson that she taught me was to never go in her purse. But I love lipsticks. And I didn't have lipsticks growing up. So, I said I really want to try that red lipstick she wears all the time, but then she told me not to check on her purse. And then she always put it in her purse. So that was like one of the fondest memory. Like, should I not do it or should I do it? And now I can buy whatever lipsticks I want, and I won't have to go to her purse. So I'm so excited. I'm just like that was some of the things that My mom was one of the smartest women that I know because growing up, she always purchased my 100% in school. So that was like I always try to work really hard, being in school because she buy things from me when I get 5 stars on my records and from schools and some of those things that I think a lot of us growing up, as a daughter, we look up to what our parents, my mom is specifically, our mom is specifically what they do for us. And if you guys are interested in sharing those messages to us here at Women Everywhere, please go ahead and text us 630-542-3006, or you can call us at 708-223-8953. The phone number is right behind me, I think. Or you can just text us and post it on our Facebook page. So we all know that other than buying gifts and all that to our parents, because we really feel like we should be grateful for the things that they did for us, other than raising us, also giving us whatever we want, whatever they can afford. I always feel like parents, our mom is the one that put that bridge between how to communicate with our father, because as a daughter, I never feel like I can communicate with my father. I think that's one of the fondest memory that I should actually talk about, because my father was always very quiet, and I feel like to communicate to him I had to go through a channel. And the channel was my mom, and she was really the one that's strong enough to build that bridge for me to be able to communicate to my dad. So that was really interesting. And growing up, we don't really realize how much sacrifices they had to do for us. And I think like Mother's Day is the right time for us to not just buy them gift, but also, well, yeah, buy them gift too, but also to express our gratitude and love to to our mom, that happy Mother's Day again to all of you. And so it's interesting to know that there had been a lot of changes when it comes to parenthood. When you ask around and say, are mothers doing a worse job now than they used to be in 1960s or 1970s? And to that question, my answer would be like, absolutely. But then you have to think about what really influenced this, what really changed, what were the challenges that these mothers had to go through to actually raise somebody. And I have these statistics from the PEW Research Organization, a research center, about some of the biggest challenges that our mom had to face nowadays. And if you guys are a parent, a single parent, anything like that, feel free to share some of your challenges as well in raising your children. And I think 70% of the public says that it's so much more difficult to be a mother now than it was 20 or 30 years ago. And I totally agree with that. What do you guys think about that? 70% people feel that parents are worse, mother are worse now than it used to be. And some of the biggest challenges that I think that we can contribute to is according to statistics, is societal factor, which is the outside influences. So with the media, the Kardashians, and all other things. I mean, they're not always bad, but it's just saying that the society now is really making a huge influence on how it become a lot harder to be a mother now. And then there's drugs and alcohol, and that's always been a problem, I would think, but it's a lot more now. Peer pressure, TV, internet, and movies, keeping kids from trouble, and then crime, gang, and keep any type of crime. And I think, like, I can share that, fear. If I were to become a parent one day, I would definitely think about that. Those are some really, especially here in Chicago, I would think. And then there's another thing that says, so societal factor is 38% of some of the challenges that parents, especially mothers, are experiencing in raising their children. And then you also have the morals, discipline, and parenting. So one thing is like teaching your children what is wrong or right. Some people keep pushing the boundaries between what's wrong and right, and I think everybody has somehow different ideas what is wrong and right in our society nowadays. And if you're a parent, that job just become a little bit harder for the most part. Just deciding, should I let one of the things I've heard about was parents now are trying to decide, should I give my kid an iPad or should I not let them use an iPad? Is this wrong for you to do that, or is this right for you to do that? And a lot of people say you should, because that's going to help them become more aware of their surrounding. That's going to help them more become interested in technology. But then there's your thoughts about, what if I gave them this and they use it in a way that they shouldn't use it, like accessing any kind of information that they shouldn't see. So those are some of the things that a lot of the parents are actually feeling a little bit of pressure and challenges being a parent. Discipline and maintaining discipline, I think this is one of the biggest thing that a lot of parents are having a hard time, is deciding whether or not to become a friend to your daughter or to become a parent to your daughter, to become a mother. Where do you draw the line between whether or not you should say yes to certain things that you ask because it would be cool to say yes, or it would be if whether or not you have to discipline them. The next thing is being there and taking care, and that's especially for a single parent. I think that being there for your children, to really make sure that you see what they're doing, and to make sure that they are taking care of what they need, and you're open when they need you, at the moment they need you. And that's one of the challenge that you have to do. Communication with your children. Yep. That's the biggest thing. How do you communicate with your children in a way that they would understand and they believe and they trust that what you're saying them is not just to fear them, to fear, but to actually make them realize that this is the way to go and this is the right thing to do as a daughter. And one of this is so funny because I can totally relate to this as a daughter. I grew up in an Asian household where a lot of things are not explained to you in a way that most American household explain to you. I was just saying about this is because when I used to ask certain things from my parents, they would say, just don't do it. I don't want to hear about this. Just don't do what I ask you to do. In most here I observe in American household, a lot of parents would explain to their parents and take really the time to explain to them, like, I think you should not do it because here's the consequences of certain things that you would do if you decide to do this. The first thing is, let's just say somebody asks you, Mom, can I go with my friends to the mall? And your parents decide, my parents would say something like, no. That's their answer. You either say no or yes. And for the most part, my mom would say no. And then I go to my dad and say, Mom said no, but can I go? And then my dad would say, your mom said no, so deal with it. They want to explain everything to me and see why I shouldn't go. So in for the people that I observe here, my friends that have kids, they would explain to you and say, well, today is Friday, and so you're not going to the mall because tomorrow you have soccer practice and you have to go to sleep early enough so you'll have energy to beat somebody, to play your game tomorrow at your soccer party. And that they explain everything to you why you shouldn't do it and what's the consequences of you not doing it. And I think that's a very important way of deciding whether or not you have to be able to communicate to them. Another thing too is teaching respect and manners. And oh my god, this is I would say that as a parent, I think this is a very important priority. And one thing I know for sure is that teachers, I know not everybody are good teachers, but I am so curious about how mothers are telling their children how to be respectful to teachers. Like imagine if I'm a student and my parents doesn't show respect to my teacher, how can I respect my teacher? They have to show them. They can't just tell them to respect somebody. They have to show them that what is respect, what it's like to respect somebody, and what it's like to actually communicate well so that they'll understand that even if you are arguing with them or does not agree with what they're trying to show to you, what they're trying to tell you, you're still showing that there's respect in there, that this is something that I would never say, and I would not draw the line by saying that you are a bi, tch, because you're not telling me what you're not doing what I ask you to do. So you guys have communications is a big part of it, to show that you're respecting somebody. And parents nowadays, when you don't have time, like my parents back in the days, but I turned out okay, I think. When your parents are not communicating properly and explaining to you, how to be respectful and how to tell people when you disagree at certain things, how can you respect somebody? How can you show respect regardless of whether or not you're agreeing or disagreeing with somebody? So the next thing, so that societal factor was 38% challenges for women. Below that is I explain to you every single one of them what it means. The moral and discipline of the parenting was 31%, major challenges for them. And then here's the work and time balance, which is 10%. I am really surprised about that number, by the way, because I think that one of the hardest thing as a parent is actually finding the time how to be a parent. I mean, you know e- especially if you're a single mom, like you have to work, you have to provide, you got to buy the things you want for yourself, buy the things you want for your kids. You have to work really really hard. I'm not a single mom, I don't have a child, by the way, so I have a dog, unfortunately. But it's just I what I've observed in the society right now is the idea that I can't imagine actually having a kid, because the time I spend on the things I want for myself and the things that I want to become successful and be great at what I do is taking 24 hours of my day. How about those parents that has 3 kids? How do they allocate their time to take care of their kids when they need it, among other things? Because I think if you're a parent, you also become like undercover investigator, because there's kids won't tell you exactly what they want when they want things, right? You got to figure out a way how to really be there for them. And I think being a single mom, where you have to work, you have to provide for them, you have to keep growing, the stress of your work environment now, that a lot of mom are working 24 hours a day just to sustain their work. I cannot imagine. So kudos to shout out to all the single mom and to all the mothers that are working right now and providing for their children. I think you guys are doing a fantastic job. And they say 70% parents are getting worse. Not everybody. I totally disagree. I mean, maybe that's the statistics. People believe that parents are getting worse, but ultimately, at the end of the day, I think mom wants the best for their children, except those parents that left their kid hot in the sun inside their cars. I mean, that's a different story, right? But ultimately, I think Parents, they want the best for the kids and they do whatever they can to make it better. And those are the parents, those are the mom that we're celebrating today. Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Okay, the next thing is the cost and affording of kids. Okay, so before I actually I look it up and say, that's the 8% of people thinks it's a huge challenge. What does it cost to actually raise a child? Yeah, a lot. And I mean, I'm not talking about just buying them clothes because I mean that would cost a lot, right? I'm talking about a house. Yes, because you have to have a house to have a child. I mean, if you don't have a house or an apartment, like, please do not have a child. Where are you gonna put them? They need a nice bed. They need a nice shower, a warm shower to take a shower too. Besides the fact that if you don't have a house, your kids are gonna get bullied in school. That's what I'm saying. Imagine, like, where do you live? And then yes. So imagine, okay, here's my thoughts about this. Imagine if you already have problem with kids bullying kids now in school. If you don't have a house and you have a kid, I mean, come on, you don't really want to put your kid in the street. So make sure that you guys, before you have a house, I mean, before you have a kid, you have a house first or an apartment, or figure it out first. Yeah, and then a message to everyone, actually, you can either choose to have a child or have a house. But first, I would suggest have a house first before you have a child. Okay, that's just my thoughts on that. I mean, you know, so kids actually cost. Actually, I looked this up, and I'm not just kidding. This is like 3 years ago. I think I'm like my clock is ticking. This year, actually, my birthday, I bought a watch to remind myself that my clock is ticking. All right, to have a child. Seriously, this is truth, right? So I bought myself a watch and I shared it to multiple of my friends, like Kathleen Mosley. I said, "Hey, look, I got a watch this year," and she's like, "Oh, that's very cute." I said, "I didn't buy it because it's cute. I bought it to remind myself that my clock is ticking faster." So, anyways, if you have so that's one thing. The cost to have a child nowadays, the basic needs is $261,000 to raise from their 1 to 18 years old, and then they grow up and they become ungrateful little brats. That's very unsettling to think that after spending $261, you could have bought a house instead of having a child. But anyways, to the parents that decided to jump into that wagon, to have children, and decide to dedicate their whole life to take care of this creature, then congratulations to them, and good job. The ones that took care of their kids, the one that not so much. Okay, I'm not even gonna talk to you actually. So yeah, there's so much things that, as a parent, other than providing them for their house and the things that they need for themselves, you have to provide them spiritually. Of course, I'm not talking about a certain religion, but you got to build them, from the inside, emotional. Yeah, you got to build them emotionally, provide them a social interaction, bring them to a restaurant, hopefully, and just have them experience culture and life. I think it's very important for a parent. The other thing too is education and keeping kids in school. Yeah, so I mean, if I'm not talking just about education in a basic level, but education that really matters. I when you're a kid, they teach you to go to school, stay in school, don't get in trouble. I think those are pretty good idea, pretty good advice. But there should be additional teaching that a parent should do for their children, like teaching them how to become an entrepreneur, how to do business, how to do trading. I don't know, something similar to that. So I think that education is important to get kids to college and choose their path in life, but also parents need to teach their kids that nowadays things has changed, and you can be a 12-year-old kid and you can be a millionaire tomorrow because you've created an app that Yahoo bought or Facebook bought. But I think parents have to keep up with those changes to give their kids opportunity to make their life a little bit easier, or they get a better chance of achieving something in life, right? I mean, if you are a parent and you only worry about when are you going to buy the next Jordan for your kid, or a Nike shoes for them to go to school so they'll be cool, I think you've got the wrong priorities as a parent. So you got to think about the long term goal of a parent. I know for sure that if I had a kid, I would be taking them to trading class, entrepreneurship, the millionaire's mind intensive. Just expose them to as many things as possible so they can decide for themselves what they're passionate about. To have them talk to a designer, have them talk to a business person, they'll realize what are the challenges they have to face on a regular basis, so they'll be ready. I mean, a lot of kids don't really, and then stop saying that life is easy, that they can be whatever they want to be, because they can be whatever they want to be, but they have to work hard to get there. A lot of parents stop there from saying, okay, you're the best thing in the whole universe, child, and you can be whatever you want to be. You have to let them realize that they have to work to get there. So another thing is, a lot of parents, some people answered here that they don't know. I mean, you should not have a child if you don't know what are the challenges that comes with becoming a mother. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about the breadwinner moms and what are the challenges, and are you one of them? Give us a call at 708-223-8953.
Nobody knows how I really feel about you. Nobody knows I cannot live without you. Nobody knows you're deep in my heart, and I don't want us to fall apart. Your smile and humor, your kindness, your faith, those are things that cannot be replaced. If I had my way, I will go where you go. Everyone would know I'm yours. If I had my way, you'd be here every day, step by step and walk as one. Nobody knows you are the music in me. Nobody knows you are the night I see. Nobody knows you're in my whole heart, and I don't want us to fall apart. Smile, humor, your kindness, your faith, those are things that cannot be replaced. If I had my way, I would go where you go. Everyone will know I'm yours. If I had my way, you'd be here every day, step by step and walk as one.
Welcome back to Women Everywhere, your story matters at Intellectual Radio. Again, if you're just tuning in, this is Gigi Carrera with Women Everywhere. We'll be right back here on May 29th. But before we do that, I want to give a shout out to all the moms that are breadwinner in the family. So moms that are doing their thing, getting shit done. Those are the moms that I really, really, you know, give a very strong love. So I love you guys for doing the right thing for your kids. So it's interesting. There are two types of mom that are breadwinners. The one that are sole breadwinners, who are not, who don't have the husband or kick their husband out because they weren't that great either. And or the moms that are divorced and they're unmarried and they're taking care of their kids. And I think because of the majority of what is it, 46 or 47% of the workforce in the United States now are women. There are a lot of women that are stepping it up and doing their thing to take care of their children. And I think that the statistics record 40% of all the household with children under the age of 18, including mothers who are either the sole or primary source of income for their family. And it was that's pretty high. In 1960, that was only 11%, and now it's 40%. That's amazing, though. A lot of people are conflicted about this idea because, if you think about it, the ideal would be you have a husband, you have a wife, you're either contributing both financially to help raise your children, because we already know that kids cost a lot of money, like a house, 300,000 a year, more or less. To have a husband to contribute to that financially would be a great idea. And I think the court also are helping parents that are like that. If you have a child, you're responsible in helping raise that child financially. Not only that, but emotionally. But for the parents that are working and achieving, and I know a lot of them, and it's not always by choice. A lot of this, a lot of their parents, and then there's also women that did it by choice, that they decide to have a kid without a husband. They decide to be unmarried forever. And what's funny about these statistics is that what is it, like 47%, I think, of women that are unmarried that have children decided that they're not going to get married. They're just going to be sole parent forever. And I think and there's a lot of fears that comes along with it, but they're doing what they can to make sure that their kids are taken care of. So for women, work and family, saying that the increasing number of women working for pay outside the home has made it easier and harder. So let's take a look at this. So according to statistics, families to earn enough to live comfortably, it says 28 harder and 67% easier. Well, because of the idea that a lot of women are working now, and there's a lot more opportunities for women to work in different industries, they can afford to pay or to raise their children solely. But imagine if this was in 1960 or 1940s or 1930s, where women are actually just staying at home. And I can only imagine. I would not want to live in 1930s, honestly, when husbands are taking care of everything and you're just doing whatever they tell you to do, I guess. That was back in the days. But yeah, parents, women who are breadwinners, well, congratulations. And I hope your kids are as grateful as I would have been if I had a parent like you. So before we end our show today, make sure that you guys get a gift to your mom. Don't be ungrateful. Go get something fun, interesting. Spa would be a good way to do it. Mark C. Jerry, located in Chicago, LA, Venti, LA. Thank you so much for giving me a gift for my birthday. And also, guys, I have a short announcement to make about our show. May 29th, I'm introducing three additional, including myself. Well, I'm not introducing myself anymore, but here's three additional co-hosts that Women Everywhere that's going to be joining me here every week. Um, from different, also a radio show host. I have a financial girl and a lifestyle woman that's going to be an author that's going to be part of our show here at Women Everywhere. And next week, I am doing a live coverage, assuming there will be internet connection, at Alex Lopez Salon. I'm going to do a live coverage of Women Everywhere for the America, the Miss America 2016 casting call in Chicago will be held at the Lopez Salon, and I'm gonna do a feature interview of one amazing person that wants to talk about some of the issues surrounding his career nowadays. So make sure to tune into that one again. That's gonna be on Sunday, May 15th from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. And also, congratulations to the model that made it to our lineup for the catalog photo shoot for Gigi Brand for the 2016-2017 catalog, including Sami, our new junior ambassador. So, everyone, thank you for tuning in here at Women Everywhere. Your story matters. Thank you, Cece Santana, for letting us use your amazing song. And we'll see you on May 29th at Women Everywhere. Your story matters at Intellectual Radio.